Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of Patria Grande, a production of ABC Latino. I am Enrique Rawlunski, and together with me,
Juan Carlos Salcedo, Pocho.
Hey, Pocho, a pleasure to have you once again here in this new edition of Patria Grande. And today we are going to talk, I believe, about something that is so common and prevalent along Latin America, and that is how the centers of power and the areas of the time of the colonies in Latin America nowadays are some of the poorest areas of Latin America.
So you're talking about centers that at one time in history during the colony were like vibrant, not only in their own region, but they had impact worldwide.
They had an impact worldwide, they had an impact in the economy of Europe during those years in the 1500s and in the 1600s and into the 1700s. That's the period that we are talking about.
Good.
And let me read something from André Gunder Frank, which is a sociologist, a German sociologist, that talk about this and studied this phenomenon. Analyzing the nature of metropolis-satellite relations throughout Latin America's history as a chain of successive subordinates, Gunder Frank has highlighted in one of his works that the regions today most marked by underdevelopment and poverty are those that in the past have had closer ties with the metropolis and have enjoyed periods of boom. They are regions that were large producers of goods exported to Europe or later to the United States, and the largest sources of capital. Regions abandoned by the metropolis when business, for one reason or another, declined. And one of these clearest examples is the city of Potosi in what is today Bolivia.
I had the pleasure to visit Potosi, and it is really walking 2 centuries back because the architecture is still there in great splendor. There's a mint that produce coins for Spain during the colony. Actually, there was so much coming out of Potosi that created an inflation in Europe, and the city developed to such a degree because the extraction of silver above everything that the population grew in incredible numbers, surpassing the cities in Europe, including London, which was the main metropolis at that time.
So, what about before continuing with the talking about this topic? Why don't we watch a little bit and we put in perspective, in a historical perspective, Potosi?
Sure.
And then we continue.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Hoy vamos a descubrir una historia increíble. Junto al profe, claro, que para ayudarnos viajó a una de las ciudades más altas del mundo. Una clave de esta historia es esta jarra, en realidad la plata, el metal con el que está hecha esta jarra. A partir del descubrimiento de plata en una zona desértica de los Andes, surgió una ciudad que pronto se convirtió en una de las más ricas, de las más pobladas y de las más extensas del mundo. Allí la plata para algunos significaba prestigio, poder, y para otros, para muchos, para millones de personas, dolor, sufrimiento y hasta muerte. Vamos a comenzar nuestro viaje yendo hacia el pasado y te presentamos el programa de hoy de esta manera. Hoy vamos a recorrer la historia de Potosí como símbolo de lo que fue la llamada conquista en América y de lo que representó la explotación de la plata en la organización colonial del Imperio Español. Vamos a descubrir cómo surgió esta ciudad que se convirtió en la mayor productora de plata del mundo, cómo se organizaba esta sociedad para la extracción del metal, cómo Potosí alcanzó el esplendor a costa del sufrimiento de millones de trabajadores que dejaban su vida en las minas. ¿Y qué sucedió cuando la plata dejó de brotar de la tierra?
We can see that between 1545 and 1558, the fertile silver mines of Potosi were discovered in present-day Bolivia, along in future years with the mines of Zacatecas and Guanajuato in Mexico. And it is estimated really that what is in nowadays billions of dollars were extracted from these mines with the destination of Europe. And they just flooded the markets of Europe by the Spanish emperors.
Look, I'm studying history. I'm a Bolivian by birth. And so how did they explain to young people what this wealth was? Because, you talk about billions of dollars, and when you're a young kid, 35 cents is a lot of money. And they used to give us the example that they could have built a bridge 2 meters wide and half a meter thick from Potosi to Madrid, and still was going to be plenty of silver left.
Look at that. And interestingly enough, and something that you mentioned also right now, is that the population of Potosi, during those times, the population reached 160,000 inhabitants. That was more than London. That was more than Paris. That was more than Seville, Madrid, the capital of the Spanish Empire, right? That was, well, New York was not even New York at that time. And the magnificence of that city was seen in everything that happened there, in the buildings, in the churches, in the cathedrals, which were all adorned in gold and silver. Right? And Pocho, you are originally from Bolivia.
Yes, I am.
So tell us a little bit, how is Potosi nowadays?
Well, Potosi, unbelievably, is still struggling to recover from that period. Because it had bet so heavily on mining. That mountain that provided the majority of these silver, believe it or not, is still being developed, is still being exploited. But there are other minerals